Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all in day 21 of internship on IoT project development using industry grade microcontroller. Yesterday, we saw that how to implement UART protocol and transmit and receive data between two devices. So we transmitted data from peak microcontroller to ESP8266, received that buffer register, and sent that same data on Firebase. Similarly, we send data from ESP8266 back to the peak microcontroller. Back to the peak microcontroller. We saw that video that we are receiving numbers on LCD display, that is 15, 20 addition. Yesterday we have explained the logic behind this. So today we will start with the a new topic, which is Android application development using MIT App Inventor platform. So we will start with that. So to make any application on MIT App Inventor platform, you just have to go on Google Chrome and type MIT App Inventor. After hitting enter, just click on first link and you have to log in using your Google account. After this, you will find this window. Whenever you are logging for first time, you will find this window will be empty. There will be no projects by default. So you have to create new projects. Yesterday we created this new project IoT internship, and today I have created this new project. So what we will do, we will start with the new project. I'll just give as demo. Click OK. To create new project, just have to click on start new project, or you can just go to projects and start new project. Click OK. Okay, the new screen will appear. And here you can see that the workspace is here. You have to edit, means you have to drag and drop objects. Like for example, I will show you this button. You have to drag the objects. We can call them as components. Okay. Next is, for example, notifier. This is hidden component. You will not be able to see this component on the screen. You can see here, it is written over here that non-visible components. And the visible components will be shown on the screen of your phone, virtual device. It is a virtual device. So I will just delete them. So this is how you can drag the components on the screen to create user interface. So here first you can see that it is editor window. Here you can edit our Android application. User interface components. From here you have to drag and drop all the components required to make your application. For example, this is button, checkbox, date picker, image, label. Each and every component has given over here. So this is user interface related to components related to user interface you will find in this list. Next is we'll just talk about the all important components later. We'll just talk the other list available. Second is layout. We will also discuss it practically. We will implement it directly. How to use layouts in Android application. It is just to arrange components in a symmetric manner. So that is the reason we are going to use layouts. Next is media. So camcorder means the video recorder, camera for to capture the images, clear to play the sound, the sound recorder, speech recognizer, text to speech. We are going to create one app using text to speech, this component, and video player. All the required components are available related to media in this media section. You can find it over here. And this is drawing and animation. We are not going to use this, so I will just skip it. You can make the animation, canvas, image print. Okay. Next is map. If your application involves or your project involves any map related functions or operations, so you can take map from here. You can just see that how we can take the coordinates from this map. The marker is there, polygon is there, navigation is system is there. You can drag this also. This is non-visible component. So, so this is how you can drag and drop the all the components required in your application. So I'll just delete them. Now the sensors. These are the sensors which are mostly available in your Android phone, smartphone. So this is the list of sensors available in your smartphone. It may vary company to company. Means the different smartphone companies may have different sensor, or some of the sensor be missing in your smartphone. So you just have to check whether this sensor is available in your smartphone or not before using it. So there are provision to check sensor is available in your smartphone or not. For example, gyroscope, you can check in your smartphone it has gyroscope or not. The temperature sensor is thermometer is there, clock is there, barometer is there, accelerometer sensor is there, accelerometer. So any application related to these sensors which is already present in your smartphone, if you want to create application related to these sensors, you can just drag this and you can use in your application. So this is how simple it is. I'll just delete them. So in today's session, we are going to make another application using gyroscope, where we are going to print the values of X and Y, Z velocity components on our screen, and we will observe the real-time data. So near field NFC is there. All types of data, all types of sensors are available. And the social, if you want to add any social function which is sharing, texting, Twitter, Facebook, similar to that, email picker. You can add this using under this section. You will find all related components related to social in social section. Now the storage. How you can store your data. Suppose your application is producing some data, or you are receiving data from some another cloud, and you want to save that data. So these are the available components or the platforms. CloudDB file system is from your mobile file system. TinyDB, these are the databases you can use in your application. So we are not going to use any of the storage platforms. We'll just skip this now. Connectivity, this is Bluetooth, web, serial. Also, we are not going to use this also. You can just take your cursor on this question mark and click it. It will give you the details of that component. Okay. For example, if I go to user interface and click on button with the ability to detect clicks, many aspects of its appearance can change. Okay. So if you want to find information related to that component, you just have to go to this question mark and click OK. Sorry, you have to click on it. So you can find related information to that component, particular component. I'll just show for text box. This is the information they have given for switch. Okay. Just you can read it, and so that you can easily implement it in your application. Next is logos. This is also we are not going to use. So I'll just keep it. We are not going to need that logos mindstorms. So very important is experimental. Under experimental section, you will find this Firebase DB. Okay. So you can click this non-visible component that communicate with the Firebase to store and retrieve information. So we are going to need this to integrate our Android application to the Firebase. So to do that, we have to click on it and drag in your screen. You can see the warning. Firebase DB is an experimental feature which may change in future, or break packaged app built with this component may not function into indefinite future. Okay. So future, it is just telling us that in future it may be not available in the MIT App Inventor platform. So what we will do, we will just discuss the important components which we are going to use in our first application. I will just delete this. Before talking with that, I'll just go to here. You can see the font size. If you want to build any Android application for a tablet or desktop, you can change the size here. Tablet size is here, the screen size will be changed. Next is monitor size. Screen will again get a little bit bigger. I'll just set it to phone size by default. Now, on the right side, you can see the all the components which you are going to add in your app. For example, if I add this button, it will appear under screen one. Okay, you can change the name of this screen one by here. I'll just show you that. So whenever you are adding any component in your application, means dragging and dropping this component into the screen, means in the application, the component will appear here. Suppose there are multiple screen. If I add screen in our application, for example, in our application there are multiple screens. So the components you are dragging under screen 2, they will appear under screen 2. Okay, later we will see that also. I'll just cancel this. Now, whenever I click on this screen 1, another properties section will appear here. So all the properties related to this screen 1 will appear here. For example, I want to change the name of this screen. So I have to just change this title. The title will be my screen. You can give any name you want. I'll just hit enter. Now you can see that the name has changed here. About the screen, you can write any description and give the background color also to the screen. For example, black. And the screen will be background of screen will get screen 1. My screen will get black. Okay, you can change all the properties related to this screen in this panel, this properties panel. Okay, I'll just click to none. I'll set to default. And here you can see the scrollable. After clicking the scrollable, your screen will be you will be able to scroll down the screen. If you uncheck this, and suppose there are some components you have added, you have created UI, user interface that requires to scroll down, and if you have unchecked this box, you will not be able to scroll down. So you must check this box before enabling it. Okay, so you will be able to scroll down to see other components and the user interface. Okay, now I will do. I will just talk quickly about very important components available in this user interface. First is button. I will just show you how you can drag button into screen. You just have to click on it, press, and release it over here, the screen. Okay, just like that. You just have to click on it. You have to keep pressing button, the click button, and you have to release it over here. So button will be added in the screen. Now, whenever I click on this button, in the properties section, you will find all the properties related to this button. For example, font size. If I change the font size to the 20, the font size on the screen will change. You can change the font type face from here also. Height of the text. For example, now I changed the font size. Now I want to change the size of button. Okay. So what I have to do? I have to click on this percentage or the fill pixel, or fill parent or pixel, and give some pixels. For example, I will give 50. So I'm putting height as 50. So height of this button has increased. You can see here. Width, I'll just give manually some random numbers. 80. Okay, you can see that the size of button has changed. Now there are other options also. We'll just explore those as well. So there is one section we are frequently going to use, percentage. Okay, because the screen size of each and every devices is not same. So that is the reason I recommend you to go with this percentage and fill parent button or the automatic. Do not use this pixel, because pixels and the resolution of each and every screen for smartphones is not the same. So if you want to get the user interface which is very similar in each and every display or each and every smartphone, so use these settings which I am going to show. Okay, if I give here percentage, it is under height section, I think. Okay, what I will do now, I have given for width is this. I have given this manual number, random number. So what I will do, I want to make this button half of the screen. Width of this button will be half of the screen. So what I have to do, I just have to put percentage and write 50%. Now width will become 50% of width of the screen. Okay, this is the width of the screen, and this is the half of screen because we have put the 50%. Now I will put 100 to show you just. Now it is 100%. Okay, and what if I give 100% over here? Entire screen will be covered by this single button. You can see that width and height we have given 100%. Another one is text. We can change text on this button. For example, convert. I'll give name of this button, convert. Okay, name of this button will change. And whenever you are using this button or components, I recommend you to give variable names. Okay, this is the button name. Okay, this is the text will appear on the button. This is not the name of that variable. So whenever in the back blocks, we are going to need this button. It is showing under screen 1 section. Okay, so give appropriate name so we can identify which button we are going to for what purpose in the block section. So what I will give, suppose our first application today we are going to make is text to speech conversion. So I have given this name as convert. Now what I will do, I'll just click on it and rename it, and the new name will be convert button underscore button, and I will just hit okay. So what is the reason I have just told you to give this variable name? Because in any application there can be possibility of having multiple buttons. So do not get confused between these buttons, because button 1, button 2, to identify the purpose of each button we have given this button. So in the blocks we can just simply identify, okay, this button is used for conversion purpose. So I just have to click on it and drag this component. When I click this button, what I want to do? Okay, so that is the reason we must give appropriate name to button variables. We can call it as button variables. Okay, there is some server issue, I think. Okay, after that you can change the color of the button. To change any property related to particular component, you have to first click on it, else it will just show the screen one properties. Okay, just click on it. You can see here text color is there also. You can change it. Text alignment, you can set as left, it will go to left, right, right, center, and center. I'll just delete this button for now. So button is used whenever you want to do some operations after clicking that button. For example, there is one operation. Suppose I have given some text input in my application. Now I want to convert. So there is one button, and after clicking that button, I want to convert that text into speech. So that is when you can use a button component. So whenever you want to do any operation after clicking the button, you can just drag your button component in your screen and you can use it. Okay. Next, very important is labels. You just have to click on it and drag it in the screen. Now, these labels are text variables. You can call them as text variables. You can put any manual string in that variable, and you can change that string continuously in real time also. let me show you what I mean by that. I just will click on it, and you can see here text. Now what I will do, I'll just change this text, IoT internship. You can see that we have changed this. I will just change the font size also, IoT internship. And under IoT internship, for example, there is section called temperature. I'll just put temperature here for understanding. 10. And what we want to do, in front of temperature, I want to observe real-time change in temperature. Suppose we are getting data from real-time database, which is Firebase. We are receiving data into our application, and what we want to do, we want to display that number, that temperature number data in front of this variable. So what I will do, I will put this label variable, text variable, in front of this temperature. How we can do that, we are going to see in later in the session. So this is the reason we can use labels. So always remember, labels are text variables. You can give manual strings also, text also, to save permanently, and you can change that string in the application. I will just show that in later in this session. So that is the reason we are going to use label. Just delete this. Next is notifier. It is a non-visible component. You will not be able to see this component on the screen. So whenever you drag this, it will appear on non-visible component section. So what is the reason we are going to use this? So whenever you want to get some notifications, for example, I give some command to turn on the wall, and you want to get notified from the system. So this module or this component will notify you. It will give a pop-up on your screen that wall has turned on. For example, after clicking convert button in text to speech conversion, it will just show that text what we have converted. Okay. In the session, we are going to learn about this notifier. So for notification purpose, we are going to use this. I'll just delete it. Next is text box. In our first application, which we are going to build now, is we are going to use this text box. The text box is used to take user input. It can be a string, it can be a text, a string text, numbers, it can be anything. Okay, characters. So to get user input, you have to use text box. Okay, so to convert a text to string, what we need a user input. What we want to convert, which text you want to convert into speech. So that is the reason we want to use this text box. So input will be, you have to put over here. You can see the all the properties. I will just explain the properties related to this also. You can set the user input font size here. 20. I recommend always use 20 and 25. Between 20 and 25, it is better visible for the screen eyes. The alignment, you can see the alignment from where you want to start text. I'll just put it left. And the next is very important. On the screen section, there is another align horizontal and align vertical option. So after click on it, what you will find, I will just click right. It will shift to right. I will click on top. It is on top. What I will do, I'll just click hit enter center and again center. Okay, it is on center. Okay, I'll just for time being I will just delete it. And later in this session, we are going to make another application using this sensor gyroscope. And what we are going to do, we are going to uh, observe the real-time change in x, y, z components of velocity using this gyroscope sensor. So I just have to drag this non-visible component, and x, y, z. We are going to use the labels to observe the real-time changes. Okay, what we will do now, we'll just quickly start with our first application. I'll just delete this. And first application is text to speech conversion. So I will take the text box. Next is we need a button to convert it. After pressing the button, we want to convert this text box and button. And after that, we will need in media text to speech component. It is a non-visible component. You can just directly drag it. Okay. After this, what we will do? We will just make user interface little friendly. So that is the reason what we will do. Just go to label, add this label over here. I will give make this string empty and increase its height. So I will tell you what is the reason I'm doing this. Okay, 45%. Now, to just align this button and the text box, I just took this label, put it over here, and increase its height, and remove the string or the text inside it. So this component is non-visible, and our components are in the center. We are not able to select this center option. That is the reason I have done it manually. Okay, so I will just change the properties for this button. Convert. And the font size is 20. To change property related to any component, you just have to click on it and then select the property and change it. And after that, what do you want to do? I'll just change this font size also. So user input font size also is changed. Okay. Now after that, we will change button variable name. This rename it to convert text. Convert text button. I'll just hit OK. Now user interface has completed. Our work related to user interface has completed. We have created this simple user interface. Now we have to put a string here. You have to type some characters and have to click convert. After clicking convert, what we want to do? We want to convert that string into speech and also give a notification in a small pop-up. Okay. So how to do that? We will just talk about that. So user interface is complete. Now we'll go to blocks. Blocks is something called background. Okay. In the backend, there is two section in a software. First is front end. The second is backend. In backend, we have to write all the logic related to code or the blocks so that your app can properly function. So in designer, all the user interface, it is the front end, and this is the backend. In backend, you have to write the logic, or the logic can be written using code, any programming language, or it can be a blocks also. But simply blocks are nothing but the some lines of code. You can say that. You can see this if condition is there, if then else is there. Okay. So we'll talk quickly about these built-in blocks, and then we will complete our app. First, we will talk about the control. In control, all the condition related functions, which are if condition, if then else, loops are there also. Okay, you can just use this components and you can just simply drag it and use it in your application. And to delete, suppose if you want to delete any component in the backend, what do you have to do? You have to just drag it, you have to click and release it on recycle bin. It will get deleted. Now Second is logic. All the logic related, comparison related things are present in this component section. True, false, not, equal to, not equal to. You can see that equal to, non-equal to. So comparison related things are present in logic. All the number related, mathematical related components are present in math section. All the string related, text related components are present in this text. Similarly, in the list, directories, colors, variables, and the procedures. Mostly we are going to need the first four: text, maths, logic, control, and the variables. Other are that much not important. So simply we are going to use this first four and this variable section. Okay. Also, before starting with our application, there is a very important sensor. I forgot to talk about clock. Clock is used to generate delay. There are so many other functions are also, but in our application, we are going to need this clock component to generate some delay. So later in this another application, we are going to need this clock component. Okay. Now, what we will do? We want to convert our text into speech. First thing, I think I change this name. Oh, sorry, I changed the name of the this. I'll change the button name. Convert button. Click OK. Now this convert button is we can use in blocks. So whenever we are pressing this button, when convert button dot click means after clicking this button, what we want to do? We want to convert the text into speech. So first we will go to text to speech, and we will use this component call text to speech one speak, and the message. What is the message? This user input we have given in the text box. Okay. So convert text. To get that string, what you have to do? You just have to scroll down and find convert text this component. So in this variable, user input will be stored. So we want to convert that to speech. Now, second thing, the thing which is remaining is notification. We have to add notifier. Just quickly add this notifier in the blocks. Click on the notifier. And what we want to give notification of? The converted text to speech. Just select this show.alert notice. I'll just put it over here. The same thing you have to copy and paste. Now after this, what I will do? I will connect my Android application, my phone, with this application we have just created. Okay, this is everything completed. The back end is also completed. The front end is also completed. So after pressing button, we will call this speak dot speak function. It will just convert our text input from user to the speech, and this show.alert function will uh, show pop-up of that converted text. Okay, that is the our application. I'll just go to designer, and to connect this application or to run this application in your smartphone, there are two ways. You can just AI companion to just test it or debug purpose, and if you want to install this app permanently in your app and smartphone, you just have to click on build and provide QR code, or you can save this application to computer. Okay. In both cases, you will need MIT App Inventor application from Play Store to scan the QR code generated by this platform. Okay, so you have to go on Play Store and type MIT App Inventor and just install it. Okay, I have already installed. I will just open it, and after installing, you just have to click on this AI companion. It will generate a QR code. Okay. Now there is few options available on this screen. Later I will share this screen and the video also. There are two options on this application. First is connect with code. You can see this code here. Okay. You can just type this code into MIT App Inventor, and or simply you can just scan this QR code. There is also that option also, scan QR code. So I will just scan it. I have scanned it. After scanning, the process bar will start. As soon as it completes this process, the app will appear on my screen. You can see this. Is it visible? Okay, what I will do, I will just later show the video. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm giving some input. For example, IoT internship. I'm writing this string IoT internship in this text box. Okay, and after that I'm hitting clicking on this button. Now I will just increase the volume and keep it close to mic so you can hear this voice.
IoT internship.
Is it audible, sir?
IoT internship.
I will just change the text. Embedded systems. I'll just again click on enter.
Embedded systems. Embedded systems.
I'll just again change this.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone.
Okay, so what I will do on the camera, the screen is not visible of my smartphone. There is one option in projects. Export selected project.aia to my computer. So what I will do, I will just export this file, this application file, and all you can simply download this file from the resources material, and you can just import from here in your account of MIT App Inventor, and you can just simply scan this QR code, and you can just check this today's project. Okay, so I will to export the application, you have to click on export selected project.aia to my computer, and after downloading, I will just put this file .aia file in the resources material. From there, you can just download it, and after downloading, what you have to do, you have to click on this import project.aia file from my computer and select that file. This project will be opened in your platform. Okay, so after that, opening this project, you just have to click on AI companion. You will be able to observe the result. Now after this, what we will do, we will make another application. So this application will in this application, what we will do in next application, we will just observe the data of gyroscope sensor available in smartphone, which is already present in your smartphone. So there are three components, X, Y, Z, and we have to observe the data in each direction, velocity data in each direction. So what I will do, I will create new project and give gyroscope. Okay, we have created new screen. Okay, new project. In that, what we want to do, we want to observe the real-time data of sensor present in your smartphone. So to do that, what we will do, we have to go to sensors first. I will select this gyroscope sensor, drag it. It is non-visible component. And after that, we have to create a user interface so that we can observe the all three axes, X, Y, Z. Okay. So first, what I will do, I will just simply drag this label, another label, and I will just change it to empty. Just observe all the properties I am changing so that you can later do it in your application, in your project. So I'm changing the text I'm making it empty, and later what I will do, I will increase its height by some pixels. For example, 30 pixels. So we will get some height. And what I will do, I will increase the font size of this to 30. We'll hit enter and give name as gyroscope app. Okay. We have to make it center so user interface look little nice. Just have to click on it. What I will do, I'll just text alignment. So inside this label variable, this text is there. So alignment of this text is currently it is left. We have to make it center to make it center. Now we click on this label for second label. What do you have to do? You have to increase width to fill parent, or simply you can do go to percentage. Fill parent means it will cover entire width of this screen. There is another option. You can just click on percentage, click 100%. It will also do the same thing. Okay. Now it is on the center. Now it is looking a little nice. Now second thing is we have to add coordinates of x, y, z. For that reason, we will drag another to give some space. Okay. Now what I will do, I will just generate some space, some distance between the components. I will just delete this text for this label. Width doesn't matter because we are just using this label for generating height or the distance between two components. Okay, I will make it 20, sorry, 20 pixels. Okay, we have created some height. Now, okay, before I will just delete this. I'll tell you the reason. What we want to do here, we want to put this x direction velocity variable here, and in front of x velocity we want to observe velocity related in that direction. Similar for y and z direction. What I mean by that, I will just show you. Layout, in layout section, you just have to drag this. Okay, horizontal arrangement. You can add two components. First label, and you can add simply second component. Now first label is x direction velocity. It will be just a string. Okay, it will be constant for entire time, and this string it will be changing. It will be number. So this number is changing with respect to this label. Okay, what I will do, I will just add another layout for y and z. I'll just quickly do that. Okay. After this, what I want to do, I will just make it horizontal arrangement. You have to click on it. Horizontal arrangement. Make width 100%. Okay. Now we want symmetric components. So that is the reason what we will do. We'll make it 50-50% for both this x direction velocity component and the variable which is going to change number. So I will click on it and width on, click enter 50%, hit enter, and text alignment as center. Okay. Now you can see the symmetry. Similar to this, similar as first label, just click width 50%, text alignment as center. Now what we will do, will not change this height component. It must be automatic. So what we will do, we'll just change the text as 20. This is also 20. We'll make it empty this because we want to observe the real-time data. So I will make this empty, and after this we'll give name to this x dash velocity. So x direction velocity we will observe in this component. Similarly, quickly I will do for this components also. So you have to click on this horizontal arrangement, make width of 100%. I'll do for this also. Now make font size as 20 for each component. Make width 50%. Text alignment center and remove the text. Next is y direction. So we'll change this y velocity. Hit enter. Make width of 50% and text alignment as center. Now you can see that our application has changed. Previously how it is used to look like, and now it is how it is looking. Okay. So I'll just change it for this also. %, text alignment center, and text as z direction. So z dash velocity. Okay. So what will happen now? Whenever the components or the variables will change, we will able to see the number front of these labels. X velocity will appear in front of x velocity, and similar to y and z. So our user interface has created. What I will do, I will just increase this height. Okay. Now we will go to blocks. To generate delay, we have to add sensors. From sensor, we will add this clock. The blocks, what we want to do, we want to observe the real-time changes with the sensor. So first we will generate delay. To generate delay, we have to select this dot timer, and from there select this variable. We are going to need this variable, and we'll name as counter. This is a global variable we have created, counter, and I will assign it to 1. So variable will start from 1. Now we'll select if then else. What do you want to do? So we will compare this counter with the seconds. Whenever one iteration will happen, 1 second will pass. So I'll from logic, what I will do, I will from maths, sorry, I will take this. We have to compare numbers because it is integer, and I will go to variables again. Get variable. I will click on it to get variables and select global counter. What I will do, I will compare with a number greater than equals to. If the counter is greater than equals to 3 seconds, we will generate a delay of 3 seconds. Then what do you want to do? After 3 seconds, you want to put these numbers each time we want to update these numbers. The reason we have generated delay is because these values varies so fast. So we will not be able to observe this data. That is the reason we have created this delay. So next is, okay, we will change the variables. Label is X direction. We will change the name so we can identify it here. X. I'll just simply give name as X to save the time. I will rename as Y. And I will rename as Z. Okay, now we are able to use this. So what we want to do, we'll just click it, set X text to. So we want to set this variable to the X direction velocity. So to do that, you have to click on gyroscope to receive, to get that X direction velocity. Okay, just click on it, set it here. Okay. Similarly, we will do for X, Y, Z. Sorry, Y, Z. We'll just copy them, duplicate them. What I will do, I will change this labels Y, Z. Respectively, I will change here Y and Z. So if 3 seconds has passed, it will enter in this loop. And then again, we have to set this global variable to the 1. So to 1. And then, don't worry, I will explain the logic once again. Set clock enable, select this and go to logic, select true. I will extend the logic quickly. And after this else, if the counter has this number is not greater than equals to 3, what do we want to do? We want to increment that number. So what I will do, I'll just go to variables again, set this counter, global counter, go to math, and I will get this number, click it, and just simply I will add 1 to it. I will explain now the logic behind this. So initially we have set the global counter variable to 1. So the value of this counter is 1, this variable. Whenever we are entering in this timer, we are checking if this number is greater, this global variable is greater than equals to 3. Okay. If not, then we are skipping and we are incrementing it until it gets greater than equals to 3. As soon as it get equal or greater than 3, it will run this logic. Okay, we will set the gyroscope sensor, means after every 3 seconds we are updating these values. So that is the reason we have generated this delay. And again, whenever we are entering in this condition, we are setting this global counter as 1 because we want to increment it again 3 times. And clock set, it will start from beginning. This is the reason. Now, second thing is we have to just click on screen and get screens initialize. What it will do, whenever we open the screen of application, it will get initialized. So under blocks under this section will get run, it will run after whenever you are opening this screen of application. So what I will do, we will check the sensor is present or not. Earlier I have mentioned that we will check that how to check sensor is present in your smartphone or not. To do that, you have to just click on this sensor, whatever sensor we want to check, and see, click on this available. If the sensor is available, it will return true. If not, it will return false. So what I will do, just go to control, if then else. So if the condition is true, it will go to then, and else it will go to else. So we have to just give notifications. I will just open the notifier. We haven't added the notifier. I will just quickly add the notifier. And in the blocks, you have to select this notifier. So what do we want to notify? Show notice. If the sensor is present, we want to give a pop-up as sensor available. And if the sensor is not available, we want to show as sensor not detected. So you have to give a string argument over here. So I will go to text, select it, duplicate it, connect it. Sensor detected. And no sensor found. Okay. Now what it will do, whenever you are opening this application, it will check for if this sensor is present or not. And after that, if the sensor is present in your smartphone, it will give as pop-up as sensor detected. And if the sensor is not there in your smartphone, it will just show no sensor found. And after opening the screen, first thing we want to do is initialize the clock so we can observe the data in real time. So what I will do, I will just copy this thing, duplicate, and I will put here. Our app is completed. Now what I will do, I will just go to designer and connect it with the AI companion. Someone else has scanned actually, I think. So I will just dismiss it. Please don't do that. I will just reset connection. AI companion. Now I have scanned. I can see the screen. You can see the changes with respect to X, Y, Z. I think it is not visible. So what I will do, I will screen record my phone and upload it into resource material or recorded sessions. And also I will upload the same AI file also. So you can also perform by yourself and check it. What I will do, I will just try to join this meeting and share the screen. So once again, what I will do, I will just explain the logic behind these blocks. We have created this user interface. In front of this X velocity, Y velocity, and Z velocity, we are observing the real-time changes of the sensors, in which direction velocity is increasing or decreasing. Okay, so that is the reason we have created this user interface similar to like this. And the next thing is this logic. We'll just quickly understand this. First thing we'll run is this screen one. Whenever you are opening or clicking on the application, we will open application, this thing and entire thing will run. So what we are checking first, if the sensor gyroscope is present, this thing will return. If you, I will just click on it, indicates whether a gyroscope sensor is available. Okay, if the sensor is available, it will return as true, else it will return as false. So condition depending upon that, we will go to then option or the else option. Okay. Now in my smartphone, gyroscope is present, so it is giving as sensor detected, else it would give not no sensor found. After that, if the sensor detected, what we can do after detecting this position is not correct actually. After detecting the sensor, we want to initiate this clock or the timer. Okay, we don't want to put it over here because uh, this is sequence and this will get run whether your sensor is present or not. It doesn't matter. It will get start. So we want to do is when the sensor is present, then only want to start the timer and want to print this data in front of the variables. These variables. So we'll understand now. We have initialized a global variable as counter to 1. We are checking this global counter is greater than equals to 3. And if it is greater than equals to 3, then we are printing these values. And again initializing to 1. Because next time we want to check this. Because after 3 seconds, we want delay of 3 seconds. That is the reason we have put this global variable again to 1. And again we have initialized the timer with the value 1. And this is for the incrementation reason. If the global counter variable is not greater than equals to 1, sorry 3, it will increment it by 1. So each time it will take 1 second. So that is the 3 seconds where after 3 seconds we are updating the value. So this is the logic behind this application. What I will do, I will just upload the two application, these AIF files of two application, download them, import them using them from the project. Just import this AIF file and understand logic and user interface. What are the properties we have changed? What are the logic blocks we have used? And connect with your smartphone using AI Companion, or just you can simply build it. It will install permanently in your smartphone. So you can observe the changes and the can do it by yourself. Okay, so I will put this AI file in resource material. Download from there, import it in your MIT App Inventor account, and just observe the everything we have discussed. Okay, thank you. This is for today's session. Tomorrow, what we will do? We are going to integrate our MIT App Inventor app with the Firebase. We are going to send and receive data from Firebase. And after that, what we are going to do? We are going to receive data from PIC microcontroller to ESP8266. From there, we are going to send the data to Firebase. From Firebase, we are going to receive data in our application. And in reverse direction also. Suppose we want to control a LED using MIT App Inventor. Suppose there is but LED on and LED off button present in our application, and we want to control ESP8266 for application. So we will see that tomorrow in the session. Okay, the forum is open for question and answers. Please ask your question and queries. Same app can we use for peak interfacing application? Definitely you can use. There is no any problem with using any microcontroller. Can use with any application because there is no direct relation with the application with the controller you are using. Okay, so direct contact of MIT App Inventor is with Firebase. So whatever your method using, it doesn't matter. The sensor data or the data can be anything, must be go on Firebase. And from Firebase, we are connecting our application. So there is not directly relation between microcontroller and Android application we are developing. So you can use it with the 8051, but there you must understand there is you have to implement your protocol with the ESP8266 to send the data. Yes, is the timer step second by default? Can we edit to less than 1 second? Uh, I have not checked about that. I will check it and I will let you know. Any other questions? Simply we will just check in that clock. Yes, there is option for milliseconds. Okay, I will tell you tomorrow, or I will tell you personally how to use this milliseconds option. Timer is needed to generate the delay. If we do not put this timer to generate the delay, the gyroscope values changing so much fast that you are not able to observe the changes. If I directly put this block of code whenever the screen starts or here in the sensor present section, the changes are so rapid that you are not able to see the numbers also clearly. So that is the reason we have put this 3-second delay. You can put the 1-second delay also or the less than that. So that is the reason we have put the delay. The timer is basically used to generate the delay. Any other questions? Please ask. Which means timer is necessary only for sensory data. No, this is not mandatory that you must use it for sensor data. You can use to generate. General purpose of the timer is to generate delay. A delay can be used for multiple purposes. So you can use the delay in anywhere. You can use it with the sensor data also. You want to delay some functions or operations, you can use over there also. When global counter is incremented, see here, we are checking in this if condition if we have this global counter is equal to or less than greater than equals to 3. If it is not, then it will go to else. Then what we are doing, we are setting this global counter to get global counter plus 1. Get global counter means the current value of this variable global counter, and we are adding 1 to it, and we are assigning back to itself. So in C programming, there is a function. I will just quickly explain it. X equals to x plus 1. It is very similar to this. X equal to x plus 1. How? You can see that set is this x, set to, we are assigning and we are adding 1 to it. So current value plus 1, we are assigning to this same exact variable. So 1 is added. We are checking it again. If still it is not 3, it will go to, it will again increment it, and when it will be equal to 3, it will stop. It will enter into a then condition. It will perform the operation. We are setting it again to global counter to 1. Now the again value of this variable, global variable, is 1. Now we are again initializing this to true. Now again timer has started. Now again we are checking this condition. So continuously after 3 seconds, it will update the sensor data. Hope you have understood. Any other questions? Uh, as far I know, there is no predefined delay in this MIT App Inventor platform. You have to create your own delay using clock. Whatever delay you want to generate for seconds, you can just you increase this number. Suppose you want to make delay of 10 seconds, you just have to give this number as 10. After 10 seconds, the values will be updated. Similar to 15, 10, any number you can give as this to comparison with the global counter. Is there any other questions? Else I will end the today's session. I think questions are over. I will end today's session. Okay. Thank you, everyone.